What's going on, guys? Goofy Rexy here. Hope everybody is doing well, and welcome to the weekly headliner update, week number 96. Now, if you're new to the weekly headliners, this is where we discuss what is upcoming this week of Marvel Strike Force, and then we recap the most important topics from the previous week as well. Lots to talk about here on the weekly headliner update. We have the Death Scourge event that is fastly approaching, a little bit quicker, and I think a lot of us expected here. But gonna go over sort of like my updated approach here, like what characters am I going to be bringing in. Not going to be going in with the Ravagers anymore. I'm going to make a little bit of a modified sort of change to that gear, and then some quick thoughts in regards to some new data mines that also recently popped up as well. We also do have the Herald of Death event. We got some math to go over to help you out to make sure that we can all get that carrot nose for the Festival of Frost event here. Doom 3.5 raid update from Marvel Strike Force, which was absolutely comical. We're going to go over some details on that as well. Also, new characters are going to be coming farmable, but then also some ones that are definitely missing that should be farmable by now, but have not been. We'll talk about that as well. And also, is MSF the most expensive it has ever been in MSF history? We're going to talk about that here, guys, and so much more on the weekly headliner update. And if you're ready for it, guys, we're going to start right now. All right, guys, welcome back. Like I said, a lot of stuff to cover here on the weekly headliner update. However, if it is your first time coming to the channel and you would like to see some more Marvel Strike Force content, then consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell so that you know when the videos do go live. And there's some links that are down below, guys, in the description. There's a link to my Discord where you can join and become a part of the Goof Troop community there. There's also a few other links, one to my Patreon, which is another way to support the channel for just $1 a month. And then also my Twitch page where I do stream Marvel Strike Force content occasionally. Also, my Twitter and my Facebook link are down below if you want to follow me outside of YouTube and all that stuff as well. But the first topic I want to talk about, guys, is the Death Scourge event, which I'll be honest with you, I'm a little surprised, not fully, a little surprised that we're getting it as early as December 16th. I think I probably predicted that maybe we would get it literally probably like 3 days before Christmas started, but we did get it on the 16th here. And I'll be honest with you, I think for a lot of players, it's essentially sort of sped up their timeline in regards to what they're going to be bringing in now, primarily for like the mutant, for the minions nodes, which definitely happens to me. There's going to be some changes that I'm going to be making here. I wanted to bring in the Ravagers, but I'm going to be going in a different direction, and I'll talk about what that direction looks like and talk about the other teams that I'm going to be using for these nodes as well. But of course, wanted to talk about a couple of things here in regards to some data mines, as I mentioned right in the very beginning. So this looks like this is the most recent data mine that I just got here. This is actually from Tana, so shout out to Tana for doing this data mine here. There were a few ones that went out last week. Not entirely even still sure exactly what is going to be in these nodes, but I think that being that this is the most recent one, I think this is probably going to be what we can expect, right? So for the minions nodes, it doesn't actually look that bad at all. For like wave for node 1 and then node 2. In wave 1, you have Strange, Toad, Mystique, Symbiote Spider-Man, Sabretooth. You got Blob here. Wave 2, Phyla, Mordo, Mystique, Magneto, and Juggernaut. Magneto could be scary because you're like, well, what about the blinds? Well, remember, like for the scourges that you can use for those minion characters, that one of those scourges flips negative effects into positive effects. So therefore, even if Magneto blinds, whenever that minion character takes a turn, they're going to flip that into a positive effect. So you're going to be fine with a lot of these characters. I think for certain minions like AIM, I think the Ravagers, I'm hearing Shield, like players are talking about Shield. They probably will be fine with these nodes here. And node 2, originally thought there was going to be a Hela and a zombie Iron Man here. It looks like based on this data mine, that's not going to be the case. And some of the characters here could be concerning, like Negasonic, maybe Moondragon. Phantom X can be a little bit of a jerk depending on how big he is. And of course, you got to worry about Carnage and the Term Eater and things like that too. But I think for the most part, players will be fine. I just despise the minion crap. I think it's still horribly bad that they decided to go in this direction, but I guess the nodes don't look terrible, but still the fact you have to invest in some minions, still horrible in my opinion. Now, what is concerning in terms of the nodes is node 6 and node 7 and what I'm seeing here for the non-legendary mutant section. And remember that, of course, those scourges that you're equipping on to boost up your minions will also boost up other minions on the enemy side, right? So if you're looking at like node 7, there's a ton of minions here. There's Shield Trooper, there's Shield Assault, there's Shield Trooper again, Shield Security. In node 6, there's Shield Medic. There's a lot of minion characters that are here, right? So you're kind of looking at this, and you're like, well, am I gonna have to deal with Revival and having to deal with them flipping positive effects into negative effects, the boosted damage? Like Shield Trooper can do a lot of damage, right? So I look at things like this and I'm like, this could definitely be a concern for a lot of players who are not endgame, who may not have very good non-legendary mutants. So something that we're gonna have to watch, guys, to see kind of how that pans out. But in regards to what I'm gonna be using, I'll share that with you. So as I said, minions are probably the biggest one, because I was gonna go with the Ravagers, Merc Lieutenant, and then Merc Riot Guard. Like that was gonna be my sort of like decision to go in. But being that the timeline got moved up to now this Friday, I'm gonna go with characters that I already have built up, and then hope that that kind of works out. So I have minions already. A lot of these characters are already at level 60, gear tier 10 or gear tier 11. I'd already invested into Merc Lieutenant for like Alliance War. And I think in general, I think like he's probably, to me, like the best minion because of solid utility that he can give you, like offense up, speed up, ability energy, some healing. There's a lot of really good things that Merc Lieutenant does. So he was always going to be on a team for me regardless of whatever happened. But now I'm going to be going with this AIM team, right? And kind of just going to hope that this is going to be enough. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to boost him up a little bit if I want to do things like difficulty 7 and probably difficulty 8, because I don't think that the boosted Scourges is going to be enough. But I'm hoping that AIM's going to be able to take me through. Like, there's some things I'm going to be leaning on, right? Like AIM Researcher and her healing. I think this is going to be really big and important for like AIM Assaulter. I'm going to be leaning on him being able to give adjacent characters like filling their speed bar. Probably going to put him I'm going to put him next to AIM Researcher to try to fill her speed bar, and also fill AIM Monstrosity's speed bar as well, because I want the healing from AIM Researcher, but then I also want AIM Monstrosity to be able to give offense up to the AIM team too. So gain offense up and apply offense up to adjacent AIM allies for 3 turns. So I'm definitely going to want to be able to take advantage of that as well. So and of course, with the fact that they also give each other negative effects, then knowing that there's going to be a Scourge where they can flip negative effects into positive effects, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to benefit from that. I hate the fact that I have to invest into minions. I'm not excited about either one of it, but this is kind of just the best direction that I can go in. So I think ultimately, guys, whatever it is that you have the most investment into already is probably what you should just boost up a little bit to do this event, and kind of just get through it and go from there. There's going to be future Scourge events. Honestly, man, I think this is probably the worst decision that they've ever made in MSF, in my opinion, by choosing minion characters to be a part of a legendary unlock. Like, absolutely horrible, in my opinion. But I digress and move away from that. But another subject I wanted to talk about too is that being that we are getting the Death Scourge event, is there no update at all in regards to like Chromium, right? Like, what's going on with Chromium? We know you know that Archangel now requires Chromium in order for you to be able to upgrade him to G13, gear tier 14, gear tier 15. Shoot, you even need the purple ones, the purple Chromium, in order to be able to get him to gear tier 12 and gear tier 11, right? But there's been no update on that as of yet. We've asked them multiple times, asked them even up to Friday, like, what the hell is going on with Chromium? Still getting no answer on that. Super frustrating that they're doing that. And this minion thing too is just causing a lot of uproar within the community in general, at least what I'm hearing. Like, players are really frustrated with this minion stuff, and then also not hearing anything about Chromium is kind of just adding fuel to the fire, if you ask me. So what are your guys' thoughts here? What are your thoughts on minions? What are you going to be using here for your Death Scourge event? Is it too soon for you? Where are you expecting it to be at some point or other time here, guys? And I don't know, guys. I guess we got to figure it out together, but that's it on the Death Scourge event. Let's talk about some of this stuff here. All right, guys. So next up, we're going to be talking about the Herald of Death event. This event is supposed to start on December 13th, so that's going to be Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon, or depending on where you are, right? So important things to pay attention to. They have these Deathbringer orbs. You earn Deathbringer orbs from select campaign nodes, and then also the Technical Tactics web milestone. There's this main milestone, which is the Herald of Death milestone. This is pretty important. It's a 7-day milestone, but what you're going to be able to get from it here is this Carrot Nose. This Carrot Nose is one of the boosted items for the Festival of Frost event that gives 45,000 points, I believe, or 40,000 points. So you're definitely going to want to be able to grab that. So in order to be able to do that, you're going to need to get to milestone 32, which is getting a total of 49,500 points. in order to be able to do so. Now, for this main milestone, the way that you earn points for it is by earning those orb fragments, which I mentioned from select campaign nodes, and then also for the technical tactics web milestone, which we'll talk about here in a second. You also do war battles. So war battles give you 300 points. And if you do war battles with war dog characters, then you get additional points for using those war dog characters. And then you have the technical tactics web milestone. This is a milestone. It's a daily milestone. So it resets every single day, and you get points by doing raid battles. So if you do a total of 5 raid battles per day, then you'll be able to complete and get all the Deathbringer orb fragments from this, which is a total of 4,000 fragments, which we'll talk about how sort of that math works out together here as we move forward. I do want to say this though, the Deathbringer orbs, they mentioned you get them from select campaign nodes. I really hate this. I really wish that they would just allow it to be on all campaign nodes, because what typically tends to happen a lot of times is that they throw it on nodes that nobody wants, that majority of the player base wants to farm. So I really wish that there was a little bit more agency in regards to this, but of course they keep on talking about agency in this game, but there's none. There's no agency, guys. So let's go through the math though, just to kind of get you guys sort of set up here. So I did the math here. Herald Death Event, you need to get to milestone 32 to get the carrot nodes, which is 49,500 points. Listed out the points that we just, how you earn those points right here. So I have a couple different scenarios in terms of like the math breakdown. So first and foremost, scenario 1, right? So if you do 11 war battles times 300 points over 3 wars, it's going to give you a total of 9,900 points. The total points earned, of course, would then be 9,900 points, and then the total additional points that you need from the technical milestone or from farming would be 39,600 points remaining is what you would need to get. Now, for scenario 2, if you do 11 war battles, and the reason why I do 11 is because usually players get between 10 and 12. So I just say kind of just do the baseline in the middle of 11. But for scenario 2, if you do 11 war battles times the 300 times 3 wars, plus then you add in 1 war battle out of these 11 war battles that you do with 5 war dog characters, you're going to get an additional 100 points per war dog character. You multiply that times 3 points, that gives you an additional 1,500 points. So the total points earned here would then be 11,400 points, and the total additional points that you would need would then be 38,100 points. Then for scenario 3, let's say that you do the war battles with your war dog characters with G13 plus. So that's going to give you times 250 over 3 wars, going to give you an additional 3,750 points. But then the total points that you would have earned at this point would be 13,650, which means that the remaining points that you would need would be 35,850. Now, scenario 4, if you chose to go with your G15, if you have G15 war dog characters, that's going to be an additional 600 points per. You multiply that times 3. Then that's going to give you a total of 9,000 points. The total points earned there, 18,900, which then means that the remaining points that you need from the node farms, and then also your the technical tactics web milestone will be 30,600. So for the technical tactics web milestone, let's go through that really quick. Like I said, daily milestone, total fragments that you get is 4,000 per day, which equals 4,000 points per day for the Herald of Death milestone. 5 total raid battles per day will give you that. So the quick math on this here, and I broke it down by each individual scenario in regards to what you'll need additionally. So as I mentioned, total points, 4,000 points per day over 7 days. That's going to give you 28,000 points. So for scenario 1, if you were in the case of scenario 1 here, that means that you would, after getting the points from the technical tactics web milestone, you need to get 11,600 points from your daily farm. So we don't know what that is yet, because we don't know what the nodes are going to look like, but that's just going to be the number that you're going to need to remember that you need to get or need to farm in order to be able to complete the milestone. Then you have for scenario 2, where you were just doing a war battle with your war dog, let's say that they're gear tier 12 and lower, then that means that you would only need 10,100 points remaining from just doing your campaign farms. And then for scenario 3, 7,850 if you're using your war dogs to do that were at gear tier 13 plus. That means that you will need 7,850 in terms of from your campaign farms, and then scenario 4, 2,600 from your campaign farms if you had your War Dog characters at gear tier 15 plus, which I know some players will have that. So therefore you would only need 2,600 points from campaign farms in order for you to then be able to complete and get the carrot nose from the Herald of Death milestone. So it's a fairly straightforward milestone, except for the fact that you don't know exactly how many of these sort of orb fragments you're going to be getting from these campaign nodes. That is the variable right now, and we won't find that information here until Tuesday. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll do like a little bit of an updated video on that, but probably not, because I think it's going to be pretty straightforward in regards to what you need. It looks bad for some players who don't have War Dog characters, but I do believe that for the most part that you probably still will be able to accomplish this. But we'll have to see exactly when that event goes live. All right, and I gotta talk about this really quickly here. So we got this information as well, I believe Saturday or Friday. We got this Doom Raid 3.5 requirement update. I'm not gonna lie to you, by first I just chuckled. I chuckled when I saw this. Starting on Tuesday, December 13th, the Doom Raid difficulty 3.5 requirement will be lowered from ISO 8 blue level 4 to level 3. This is being updated as difficulty 3.5 was released nearly 5 months ago, and it was intended that more alliances would be attempting this difficulty by this time. Start strategizing with your alliance to take on this rewarding challenge. So seriously, you thought more players were actually going to be able to jump into Doom 3.5 raids? How? How? Oh my goodness. How in the world were players going to be able to do this? Like, number one, you're not really giving a lot of blue ISO 4 out, right? It's not like you're just, hey, here's blue ISO 4 ions. Here's all this stuff. Here's an abundance, a plethora of blue ISO 4 ions. So I'm not quite sure exactly how they expected this. You know what? They probably should have worded this to, we thought that the Whale and the Kraken alliances would have been able to join into the Doom 3.5 raids by now, but we are surprised that you're not able to. I really honestly don't know like what their thoughts are sometimes, or what they're thinking at all. They're so out of touch. Are they this out of touch? On top of that, you also introduced Apocalypse. So now players are allocating that blue ISO 4, those ions, they're allocating those towards characters that they need for Apocalypse. I really honestly don't know why in the world they ever thought that players would actually really be doing Doom 3.5, unless it was like 2 alliances that you thought would be doing this. And this is, to me, this is not alarming. It's just comical, because I'm like, come on, bro. Seriously? Are you this out of touch to not realize where the economy of your game is? There's not enough resources for players to even really start. Maybe you may have like, I probably have enough ice ions right now to probably get maybe like my Darkhold team fully there, and probably maybe a little bit of unlimited X-Men, but I'm also kind of still, or even Gamma if I chose to, but I'm still kind of holding off a little bit on that, because I'm like, well, I don't know exactly if I'm quite sure on exactly what I want the ISOs to be on these characters, and it's so limited, there's so much of a limited amount that I don't really want to kind of like waste it, right? So I'm kind of holding off on a lot of that stuff. So I'm really surprised that they thought this was a thing and that players will be able to do it. Also, let's not even forget about the fact that Doom 3.5 is probably super challenging, right? And they're just starting to release the teams that you can probably use in Doom 3.5, like Bionic Avengers, like Rebirth. But then of course with Apocalypse, you're probably still not going to be allocating those resources towards those characters. So this made me laugh, just completely just hysterical in my opinion, that they chose to say this and actually mean it. But another thing I wanted to talk about here is that we're going to be getting some new characters that are going to be farming here. So I'm going to want to talk about that here in, I'm going to find it. Here we go. So new heroes assemble hard no campaign. So this is going to be going live here this week, where we're going to be, I think it's this week, right? December 13th, where they're going to be introducing chapters 3 and 4 of the Heroes Assemble hard campaigns. And the characters that are going to be farmable here are going to be, so number one, they mentioned more teal gear, but also Spider-Woman is going to be farmable, Shang-Chi, Spider-Punk, Phyla-Vell, and then Anti-Venom. And if you even jump into the game right now and go over to the villains nodes, you'll actually see who's going to be farmable there as well. So right now, if we jump into villains and just like pan over to 3, so nothing there. But Phantom X is going to be farmable in 3 in that node. There's going to be I think I just missed one. Scarlet Spider is going to be farmable there. I feel like I missed a node just now. Did I not? Let's jump over to chapter 4. If we jump into chapter 4, Silver Samurai is going to be farmable there. Mighty Thor is going to be farmable there. And Dagger is going to be farmable in one of these nodes as well. So it's like, here's the thing. I'm happy they're bringing in these nodes, and I'm happy there's more nodes to farm characters. I'm just disappointed that we're not getting the right characters that I think the community really wants at this time, right? So there's like Agatha, there's Gambit, right? There's like a couple of these characters. Like Agatha should be farmable by now. It's been a while, right? She's been out probably the longest now in terms of characters that are not farmable. Oh, Icarus, I guess you could probably put in that category. But she's been out for quite some time now, and the fact that she's still not farmable yet, which just leads me to believe, right, guys, they're just proving the point. They know what they want to make money on. Even if it means that, even if it's like absurd and they've held those characters off for quite some time, they still just won't even allow those characters to be farmable. But I think it's kind of also insulting to bring in characters like Dagger to be farmable. Why? Why? Shang-Chi, my man's in the book store, fine. Nobody wants to farm him in a campaign node, right? Why? Why is he farmable, guys? In a node like this, like Silver Samurai, I don't get it. Like their choices, it's like, I get it. Like you want to hold on to certain characters, but don't be so blatant with bringing in characters to be farmable that just literally have no reason to be there whatsoever. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's what I wanted to talk about. Last thing I wanted to talk about here are character offers in Marvel Strike Force. So like right now, I pan over to this screen and I look at this Nemesis offer, 125 shards for $75. We have $39.99 for whatever. Is this like 6 orb fragments? 6 orbs that you're getting there. Like the prices in Scopely have just gotten like absurd and out of this world bananas and crazy, right? Remember the days where a 2-star character unlock used to cost you $25? That's not even the case anymore in Marvel Strike Force. Like I don't know what is going on with this company and organization anymore, right? Like this game has completely just gone the opposite direction of not being free to play friendly really at all, in a sense. You can still find a way, right? I think that there's ways to navigate it, so not at all, but it's harder for free to play players entirely now, and they're pretty much basically just trying to milk whales and krakens. And of course, like we're seeing the $100 offers for 180 shards of a character. We're seeing $50 offers now for 2-star unlock characters. And of course, the reason why the $100 offer is there is just to kind of make the $50 offer look a little bit better. That's probably the reason why they're doing it. But they also know that the $100 offer, that the whales and krakens are going to buy the $100 offer and then come back and buy the $50 offer after that as well. So they just know that they're going to be getting that money. And to me, I look at it where it's like, this game must not be doing as well as it used to be, right? Not as well as it did during the pandemic, not as well as it did like shortly after the pandemic. It's probably not doing as well as it used to be before. So, and players are quitting the game like repeatedly, especially when you make decisions like minions for legendary unlocks. Players are quitting the game repeatedly. So this is probably the reason why prices are going up, because maybe not as many players are spending. Instead of actually improving their game so that players would want to spend, they're choosing to just raise prices because that's kind of the easier way to do it. And that's typically what happens in mobile games, right? They go for what's the least that we have to do to still be able to make money. That's kind of the direction that they go, as opposed to actually having to make some overhaul and changes to actually appease and satisfy the player base. So it is unfortunate. This is kind of where the game is right now. I wish things were different. I wish that they would actually really look at how the player experience is in the game, the beginner experience, the late game experience. Start polling more of your beginner and mid-game players, guys, as opposed to how the game is going, not just your late game players, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I love my late game players. I'm a late game player. However, we're missing a lot of necessary feedback. Or maybe do this, guys. Share with me your feedback as a beginner and mid-game player. What is frustrating to you? What can you not get over as a hurdle? share that information with me, and I'll start to share that information with them. Listen, appreciate you guys watching the video. Hopefully you got some good, entertaining content out of this here, guys. Wish the game was in a better place right now. Hopefully we can figure some stuff out as it pertains to Archangel's event right now. But until next time, guys, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.